All right, good morning, everybody. This is Mike, obviously. How's it going? We are mobile today. Happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. Let's see if we're streaming. This is how it all began. We don't have no camera today. We just have a screen. I had to switch over to uh backup PC here. So this is what you get. You don't get Mike today. You just get a screen. We're camping over here at Auburndale. We're at Margaritaville, the coolest place on the planet. If you got any campers out there, this is the best place, our favorite place. Unbelievable people here and staff. We're absolutely loving it. But we wanted to do a tropical update. This is our daily brew. And we got Hurricane Beryl. So we're going to talk about it. I cannot read comments. This is how we used to do it. It was just me talking, some weird voice coming across your speakers. You didn't know who it was. This is how it all began. Um, but I want to give you the latest information as best I can. And that's what we're going to do. Let's take a look at it. All right. So throughout the day yesterday, this is pretty amazing. Beryl really did not weaken as much as they expected. I keep looking at the camera. I got to tell myself there's no camera now. This is current look. It passed just south Caymans. They definitely had some rough conditions there. It skirted the coast of Jamaica. I don't know if we had an official eye landfall or not, but it was close enough. There was a lot of damage there along the coastal areas for sure. Um, but it's the way it looks. It's experiencing a lot of wind shear, okay? But remember last week ago we had an invest down there, and this is a very warm part of the Caribbean. It's very important now to watch this system as it approaches the Yucatan. It's going to be nearing the Yucatan late tonight, early Friday morning. I just did a post showing the last four latest high resolution. We're going to show you all those. But but the key points with this, especially if you're living in Texas, is we're really watching how much this weakens before the Yucatan, and especially how much it weakens after the Yucatan, because pretty much every model is showing this thing re-strengthening in the Gulf of Mexico. So the stronger it exits the Yucatan, then you can almost bet it's going to be stronger in the Gulf. We're going to show you all the latest and greatest. So modeling that is. But that's what it looks like. Hurricane Hunter's 8 o'clock advisory still had it officially 120 miles an hour. I was surprised. So it really has not weakened very much at all. And we're getting some bursts of convection right now. You can see those big black cloud tops or high cloud tops, and we're getting a little white there. So it's putting up a good fight. You know, we always talk about these things. Let's look at the wind maps. I haven't really looked at these today. Then we're going to show you the latest modeling. But you always look at the structure. You know, we got some wind shear coming in from the southwest. Those are your lower winds, obviously very, very, very strong. But let's take a look at the 500 millibar and the 250, kind of give you an idea what's going on up above. But 700, 850, and 500. So a little displacement, not much. That's your stacking that we call it. That's very good structure, 500 millibar. Very, very little sign of this thing getting torn apart from that wind shear right now, at least. You know, we call these I call them Cape Verde seeds. This one had a very good circulation all the way from Africa. Now we've been tracking it. It seems like since Christmas. it's we have not had a long track storm in it seems like forever, and these bring up the anxiety because it's day after day after day after day, and we're still talking about it. All right, but let's close this one out, show you what's going on. Let's look at the latest tropical tidbits modeling. These just came out. These are fresh, tropicaltidbits.com. Levi does not watch me. I hope not, because he probably cringes, but he's been a great ally of our page for many, 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 many years, and we really appreciate his support. These are the latest models. I'm a little surprised. We got a little tick north again, getting ever so closer to Texas. All right. These are all of the different models. These are all different brains. These are timestamps below 24 hours, 48 hours. So the key point here is we got almost 2 days of water in the Gulf of Mexico. Not that it's anything to be concerned about, but we do have 2 days over water, and that's a lot of time. Um, so we got to watch for a little sneaky redevelopment. Category 1, 2 is not out of the question, in my opinion. Uh, I did a pressure drop post earlier. I've never done one of those. I think it was really good. Uh, Most of the modeling is showing a 10 to 20 millibar pressure drop, and it's 2 days after leaving the Yucatan. So if it leaves the Yucatan at 990, it could be a 970. What's that mean? Well, lower the pressure, stronger the system, more winds. 970 range is possibly Cat 2, but official forecast is only 75 miles an hour. But so it's really important. Today is the day to see how strong this is on the Yucatan approach, and then overnight, um, or throughout the day tomorrow. It's going to make landfall probably in the early morning hours, maybe around daybreak, for the Yucatan tomorrow morning, Friday morning, and then we'll see what it does across Friday across the Yucatan. But these are your latest models. Little shift to the north, a little bit of shift, and this bend is happening. The whole reason we have a high pressure system that's been dominating. I did a post yesterday explaining or not explaining, but talking about how damn hot it is. Like setting up our little campsite. I don't think I've ever sweat that much ever. And everybody here told me the same thing. And we have a high pressure dome over us in the south and the east. This little guy's getting a front coming down, and it's going to get pushed out of here. And our systems ride that's I shouldn't draw that. That's not Louisiana, but you know what I'm saying. These systems ride these high pressure systems around, and the stronger the system is, from my experience, stronger the system, it's going to punch that hole a little bit easier, and it's going to ride a little bit possibly to the north. Stronger systems are going to naturally go a little bit north. So Texas needs to be watching this very close. And the landfall, if we did have anything on Texas, it would be later in the weekend, but you can start feeling the effects as early as Saturday. I'll show you that here in a second. Latest modeling from tropicaltidbits.com here, showing you this. A little bit of weakening today. We are seeing, 2 or 3 models in that Cat 2 range. We got a bunch in the Cat 1. We have a lot of them going down into tropical storm, and then we have a lot of them coming back. So the confidence is, pretty good that this is going to be a decent little storm here once it's in the Gulf. Luckily nothing is showing a Cat 3. Important to note, Cat 3 is a major hurricane. Official forecast for the Yucatan is borderline 1-2. So it did weaken a little bit. They expect before the Yucatan. At one time, they were thinking maybe, and we're going to show you some high resolution models that are showing on approach tomorrow. It might get a little stronger. So, but the official forecast is a 2 right before landfall, then a 1 right at landfall for the Yucatan. But anyway, this is what you're looking at there. Latest ensemble plots here. These are from weathernerds.org. High confidence, of course. Obviously, this thing bending eventually. This is your European ensembles. I don't think we got the 6Z yet. These are OOZ. It takes a little while for the 6Z to pop out. But what we're seeing here, a couple things. Stronger are the reds and the oranges. Again, stronger systems are going to bend a little bit more to the north. Weaker systems are going to go a little bit more to the west. That's just a rule of thumb. It's usually the case, especially when there's a weakness. If we had a high pressure system locked in over top, it'd be impossible for this thing to curve to the north, even with a Cat 4 or 5. We saw that with Harvey. There was a strong high pressure locked over top that blocked our system. This is not a Harvey, obviously, because we have an opening and it's going to eventually get pulled up and curve. Um, if we didn't have that opening, like I said, we wouldn't even be talking about this scenario. But stronger systems might sneak up a little bit more that we might need to worry about and watch. Again, these colors are weakening over the Yucatan. What it exits is going to tell a lot about what's going to happen on the other side of the Gulf there. Latest GFS ensembles here. Kind of showing the same bend, a little more into Texas, a little weaker system. These operational runs haven't done a very good job with strength, so in my opinion, so it's just important to look at tracking at this point. But we're seeing that Texas possibility more and more. And remember, wherever this thing goes, the right side of the storm is going to be your most active, no matter what. So even if this thing landfall just south of the border, you're going to get a lot of effects in South Texas. Surge is still going to reach South Texas. So Texas is going to more than likely be under some sort of a hurricane watch soon, with hurricane warnings likely stretching up no matter where the landfall is. Latest track here. Let me show you some stuff. All right, so this we'll have a new track update at 11 a.m. Eastern. Obviously, hurricane warnings for the Yucatan. The north side, unfortunately, Cancun, Cozumel are going to get the brunt of this thing. The north side's the worst side. Um, System wraps around the Gulf of Mexico here, or the West Caribbean, and it builds up. And as it builds up, you get a lot more action as this thing rotates around. So the north side is usually your worst side on a system that's going west. Now, when this system goes to the northeast, all this action is going to wrap around and hit the right side. We're going to have very minimal effects on the south side, big effects on the top side. So that's why Texas needs to be watching this close. And with the latest modeling there, this came in from Tropical Tidbits. I would expect a slight little bump again from the National Hurricane Center towards the Texas coastline. Very little, but I think we will. But the key point here, though, has really kind of got me baffled a little bit. 2 a.m. Saturday, 2 a.m. Sunday, and then we got 2 a.m. Monday. So you got, again, more than 2 days. If this thing curves a little bit more up, it's got a little bit time possibly too. So we're looking at two days plus over the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to be interesting to watch. The water temperatures aren't really record breaking. We've showed this a lot. This is your anomaly map. A lot of this is because we have had this is your sea surface temperature anomaly map. Over the last 30 years, obviously the Caribbean has been record hot. That's been the fuel for Beryl. But the Gulf has had a couple of invests. We've had Alberto, and we've had Chris. Chris was that 15-minute storm that people still think I went to Mexico. That was a joke. Somebody in the pool yesterday thought I was driving to Mexico. Like, no. Mexico lasted like 15 minutes, and it was a 30-mile-an-hour tropical storm. Well, technically it had to be faster, but why would I drive to Texas to chase a 40-mile-an-hour tropical storm? That was a joke. But anyway, that's why the waters are cooler. So the only good news is the waters aren't like, crazy hot. Hot enough to support a storm, though. That's important to note. I have a map here, way on the bottom of the page here, that shows you potential. It's called the Barron Hurricane Index, and we have maximum hurricane intensity. Worst case scenario modeling, if we would have the most perfect everything else lined up as far as wind shear, dust, etc., the Gulf could support still Cat 3, 4, 5. So water temperature is plenty hot. It's just that's not really a talking point as far as the record heat. It's normal heat, if that makes sense. So there's your cone. We got 2.5 days over water. NHC is only calling for 75-mile-an-hour here. So they're very confident this thing is not going to intensify. But, man, I don't know. I think the modeling is saying there's a better chance that this thing's going to drop 20 millibars, upwards of 20 millibars. All right, key messages, real quick. This came out 5 o'clock in the morning. Down the road, heavy hurricane force winds, surge, rainfall, obviously, Yucatan, Belize. It says Belize. They're going to get a little bit, but again, I think the brunt of the winds and surge are to the north of Belize. Obviously they don't have any. They only got tropical storm warnings. But then, of course, the Gulf, it says uncertainty in the track, intensity. We always have uncertainty, but exact track rip currents are going to start late Friday. But again, you got to watch this thing. This is a good map here. This is a timing map of tropical storm force winds. Tonight, Thursday, 8 p.m., the Yucatan's going to start seeing tropical storm force winds tonight, this evening. We're going to see those winds reach Texas coastline as early as overnight Saturday, but 8 a.m. more realistically, which could be Eastern time. So it's probably 7 a.m. So when you wake up Sunday morning, you're going to start seeing squall lines rolling in. Just because the center is still over water, the storm itself starts impacting you almost 24 hours ahead sometimes. So that's kind of gives you an idea, when maybe you need to start prepping. Saturday would be your day to prep, as the timing would be Sunday. You start getting tropical storm force winds. A couple things I want to show you real quick where we're at. This is a map makes no sense. There's a lot of color. Looks like Sarah did some sort of coloring project in elementary school, but basically it's showing you uh, the shear, and it's really not as bad as it was. This is our little dot, uh, South Cuba. We're not seeing the reds that we did see yesterday. So, shear forecasts are so hard to predict. It actually just got updated. It was showing worse a second ago. So that's not the worst case right there. Another map here showing you shear is actually decreasing a little bit around our system. These little dotted blue lines are shear is reducing a little bit. So it actually might be entering a decent little environment. The Gulf is not looking bad as far as environment come this weekend. That's another thing we got to really worry about is if the Gulf is shear free, then it's going to have a little window to, feed off of that. All right, so I do want to show you the latest tropical tidbits modeling. Let's look at them all. I love doing that. Let's look at your high resolution modeling first. All right, so these high resolution hurricane models have done very well with intensity, very well with intensity. And what we're looking at is pressure. Pressure is a sign of uh, intensity. And if you hear a weird noise in the background, it's Hunter. He's doing his. He just looked at me. You are like the most lazy dog on the planet. Well, oh, hey, my computer's finally restarting the other one. So, by the way, if you're just tuning in, everybody, hello, my name is Mike, Mike's Weather Page. We normally do this from my own home office. We're camping. I got a mobile studio. I want a backup PC. The other one had to do a Windows update, and it took an hour and a half. So, I don't have a camera, but welcome. And, we're on X, Facebook, YouTube, and appreciate your watching us. Hopefully, get some information. I'm not a meteorologist. I am just Mike. Always refer to National Hurricane Center, National Weather Service for official information if you need that. We just speculate, look at things. I throw out a thought here and there, and some random non-weather yak sometimes too. There you go. A little disclaimer. And we have a lot of great sponsors. ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, one of them. We just visited them yesterday. I'll be hitting it later. All right. These are high resolution models are great. It shows you pretty much the worst case scenario as far as intensity goes, which is usually pretty accurate. This HWARF is really good. This one just got updated. This is the 6Z. And it's showing this a little bit of here's the Yucatan. All right, so we're looking at pressures 979, 78, 79, 72, 70. All right, so what's that telling you? Well, it's telling you it's not expecting to weaken much. Why am I looking at the camera every time I talk? I don't know. But there you go. That's tomorrow morning 9Z, which is probably like dark still, but early Friday after midnight. But unfortunately, the big stuff close to Cozumel and Cancun there, a lot of people vacationing, and I'm hoping that you're paying attention. That's, could be still a pretty decent little hurricane. National Hurricane Center is only saying a Cat 1. So officially, Cat 1, 970 would be a little stronger than that. Now, what we're looking at here with the HWARF is what happens across the Yucatan. Yucatan, it's going to weaken down to 993. Okay, makes sense. It weakens. What's it do in the Gulf? It last second here 979, 76, 75, 74. So again, it goes from a 93, 94, almost 20 millibar drop at the last second. Okay, there's the Texas border. 20 millibar drop in 2 days. All right, so it's expected. And look at those rain bands. Look at, and the important thing to note with this kind of stuff is these things rotate in off of the Gulf of Mexico, and we have tornadoes. We have surge. There are no surge estimates yet. However, we might have one. I haven't checked our Sierra map this whole time. A lot of people down in the Yucatan are asking me about surge. Well, I totally forgot. We got this surge map on the page. I don't know if it's updated yet. No, it doesn't really include. Yeah, it's not really updated yet. Well, kind of, I guess. A little, I don't know. I wouldn't post it yet. I don't think it's showing accurately what we're looking at. So there's really no storm surge map. But anyway, that's pretty significant looking system there, correct? Yes, it is. 974 millibar. All right, let's rewind it. Let's look at another good one. Now the HMON has been doing very well with track. Let's take a look at what it's doing. All right, 6Z, most recent run. It is showing a little bit of weakening, 985 on approach. That could be Hurricane Cat 1. It's just south of Cancun and Cozumel there. 981, 985. Still pretty decent little storm. That would be early, same time frame, probably right before daybreak tomorrow. Again, you're going to start feeling the worst of it overnight, though. This is going to be, this is unfortunately nighttime hours, even though the center is off the coast. So don't ever get caught up looking at the center because you start seeing these bands developing way out in front. But what we're really looking at now is Yucatan influence exits at 999. Here we go. A little bit of redevelopment. And it's really not doing a lot. 983, 981. Little last second. It dropped at about 15, maybe 981. It's still a decent little hurricane. I could still be high end cat 1, cat 2, possibly. What we got to worry about is a last second, I'm telling you, last second development. We saw that with Sally a few years ago. Um, a developing system on approach takes longer to weaken inland. What's that mean? Well, it means this. It makes landfall still 982, 983, 982, 984. So we still have a lot of inland effects. We have a deepening, strengthening hurricane. It takes longer for it to weaken. Um, it's got to hit the top of that roller coaster and then it's got to start to come down. So a lot of times we have more inland effects on a deepening, developing hurricane on approach. This also brings a little bit more storm surge to the plate because uh, the pressures actually push down the water a little bit and create a little bit more storm surge. I don't even know what kind of moon cycle we're in right now. Um, oh lordy, we're actually on a almost new moon here, so that'll boost the tides up some too. So that's where we're at. New moon in a couple days. Well, a couple. No, actually, that's today. Well, this is for Yucatan tonight. But I forgot we got 3 or 4 days. So, well, it'll be on the backside, but still. Anyway, all right. Let's look at HAFS A, HAFS B's, another two great models for intensity. Showing you the same thing. HAFS A is really showing a strong system here. It weakens it. 977. So there's last second development right before the Yucatan tonight, late tonight, obviously early morning. 977. Exits at 1001 and it brings it down to 981. So again, I mean, all these are showing a developing, deepening system over the Gulf of Mexico. So that's what we got to watch out for. I still think 75 is a little conservative on some of that modeling. All right, we're not going to show the HAFS B because it hasn't been performing very well, but I do want to look at the euro. The euro has trended a little bit stronger. So we're going to look at that one here. Zoom in a little bit wider range here. Look at the euro. Let's look at the 6Z. See, it's initializing at 990. I haven't understood this from day one. Our system's way lower than that pressure-wise. These things have been initializing almost 25, 30 millibars too hot. But anyway, it weakens it a little bit. 993 crosses the Yucatan. 992. It doesn't really weaken it at all much. And then it brings it down to 980, 979. This is the 6Z. Now it's a little farther south, but the important thing with the euro is that it's brought it down to 979. So it also dropped about 20 millibar. So again, the point of all this, you're wondering why am I doing this? I'm building confidence that when I say I think we're going to see a system developing in the Gulf, is all these models are backing that up. That whatever exits the Yucatan is going to be deepening a little bit. So there you go. The last night Euro 00Z had it down to 977 on approach. and it exited at 998. So about a 20 millibar drop, 998 to 978. Uh, there you go. So, all right, we talked about that enough. Let's look at some other stuff. You know, I posted this a second ago. I was really amazed with this one. I really haven't been following the wave map. Obviously, I guessed about 50-foot seas with our system. We just haven't really, there's so many things there to look at. I kind of forgot about looking at the wave maps, but it's fascinating to see this. Um, and the 00Z goes out longer, but this just shows you the bubble of waves, and this is not surge at all, but this definitely helps the surge numbers. You know, 59-foot max seas in the middle of this thing this afternoon, this evening, going into overnight. I mean, that's huge. And then when we exit, you can see where it's got to redevelop some, but then on its approach back to the coast here, you know, there's 53 foot, 49 foot, 53 foot, 53 foot. So it just kind of lets you know, wherever this thing ends up going is that's going to add to the coastal effects on top of surge. So that's an interesting little graphic. Rainfall, let's look at that. We're really showing rainfall maps. Let's first off look at a blend of rainfall maps. This kind of takes everything into account. Let's just look at Texas real quick. This takes all the modeling into play here. So on approach here, there is pretty much what you got. 4 or 5 inches to the south. You know, here's the border, Louisiana right here. If you can't really make it out, but we could have rain, you know, for a good part of Texas, and they need it. They're in a drought. So there's that. Now, individual runs are going to be a whole lot more than that. Let's go back and look at that. You know, depending on where the track sets up, well, GFS is a little farther north than everybody else, so we can get a decent little look here what the overall thinking is with rainfall. Remember, tornadoes are definitely a big part of these little guys. You get squall lines in off of that Gulf of Mexico. Hey, shout out, by the way, to hey Greg, what's up? Brandy, what's up? I got my Brew Crew chat up. I can't see Facebook or YouTube. I apologize, everybody. This is old school. If you're just tuning in, I had to do a PC swap at 5 minutes. Um, hey Greg, by the way, I talked to your did Brandon tell you I talked to Lowe's last night. So we were helping them get ready in Texas. Shout out to you, my Lowe's folks too. If you got guys, here's your GFS range. Just kind of give you an idea how tropical systems work. Uh, Very isolated numbers here, but the important thing to note is this: you get spiraling rain bands in, you're going to have areas that get a lot more than other areas. Just for an example, GFS showing one particular spot, not sure where, 14 inches. Purple is double digits. Depending on where this goes, we're going to see double digit rains guaranteed in these little isolated pockets. Okay. The average rain that I just showed you is a blend. It doesn't show you these isolated pockets that you see with tropical feeder bands. So somebody's going to get it. And notice how, you know, we got these tremendous rains in the middle part of the state. How's that even possible when there are storms down in Mexico? Well, the system's kind of big and it's going to be spiraling in feeder bands way outside the center. Number one point, I know Texas has got a lot of growth and a lot of new folks might never be experiencing hurricanes for the first time. But this is the most important thing to ever remember that the cone of a NHC forecast is just where they believe that the center of the storm is going to be, not the effect. So many people think that this is the area that's going to be affected. If our eye goes to the north, we're going to have effects all the way to Louisiana. This is just where the eye goes, and the effects are way. And they note this up here: hazardous conditions can occur outside of the cone. It should say more than likely will. It, uh, it, but well, it won't be on this side of the cone. So it's they got a tough spot. So if it goes here, more effects here, less down here. So it would not affect people outside the cone there, but Point of that is don't focus on that cone as being where the storm impacts are going to be. The cone is just where the eye can be. So technically, half of Texas coastline is in the cone, meaning you got a chance of this thing turning your way and have a hurricane. Farther north this thing goes, the more stronger it's going to be. That means less time through the Yucatan. I'm just really surprised they're only up in the intensity over 2 days over water. Just that's just not very common. Officially, they're having it exit the Yucatan at 60, and there's a slow gradual of 60, 65, 70, 75. So there you go. I mean, that's the official forecast. But we do see modeling suggesting a little bit more. Rule of thumb down here, the old Saffir-Simpson scale, just as a reminder, Cat 2 could be anywhere from 965 to 975 millibar, 979. And obviously the Euros showed a 977 millibar system. Um, Winds have a hard time to catch up sometimes, so it's tricky. Sometimes you get your millibars drop, but you don't have the winds to catch up maybe for a few hours later. But again, 970 range is technically Cat 2 on the old Saffir-Simpson scale. And a lot of these models showed 970 range on approach. So that's just something we got to worry about. Oh man, all right. So nothing really else has changed. Let's see. We're just watching. We're gonna have a new update at 11. Spaghetti models on tropical tidbits have turned a little bit more north, not by much, but enough to say we're probably gonna get a bump in the NHC cone. Probably, I would say. This thing is still strong. Hurricane, it's not weakening as much as they thought. The wind shear we just saw is not as bad as it's supposed to have been. Uh, it's bubbling a little bit. It doesn't look that terrible. Um, the wind shear is not showing up on upper level satellite as much as it was yesterday. So it'll be interesting on the next update if they change their thinking on intensity in the Gulf and approach to the Yucatan. Remember, they're expecting this thing to weaken before it hits tonight, late tonight. Uh, and again, official landfall. I say tonight because your effects start tonight. Official landfall tomorrow would be more likely, almost probably right just before daylight. This microwave imagery I was looking at. But this is the cool product page. This will kind of show you what I'm talking about. This is what they're expecting. 3, 2, 1. But again, the wind shear is not terrible, and it was terrible not too long ago. Um, so it's really backed off a lot. It's still there, but not like it was. We had a lot of red yesterday. Now we're down in the yellow. This is where we're at right now currently. And you can flip on the satellite and see that. So yeah, interesting, right? Let's look at the this weekend conditions and what's steering this little guy. Upper level winds are showing a little frontal line coming down. You can see the frontal line looking at surface charts too, by the way. So we'll go to surface charts in 2 days. Um, right here, see the whole front right here? Fronts are your steering wheel of tropical systems. And when we have fronts coming down, they lift and they bend and they push the high pressure out of the way, and we have a gap. If we had no front and we had high pressure, this thing would guarantee go west, but we do not have that. We don't. We have a gap. So Wisconsin is controlling Beryl. We can take some cheese curds about right now. How many of y'all have Wisconsin cheese curds? They're the best. Upper level winds, 500 millibar. We're gonna look at these steering currents real quick, and then we're gonna go right into the um, whatever else I was thinking. I don't even know what I was thinking. All right, but here's that blocking high pressure to the north. This is our front line coming down. This is interesting. All right, we got a little. Let me go to the wide angle here. Let's go to weather nerds. We got a low pressure area out there that nobody's watching, and we talked about it yesterday. Actually, I think it's going to influence this thing turning a little more than we think because it's going to help break down that high pressure a little bit. But we got this weird little thing out here. Now, it's not spinning or anything, but it's a low. It's an upper level low. But who knows? We might get a little circle out of it, and it's kind of wrapping itself back around. So it actually might follow this steering pattern and maybe bring some juice down to the Bahamas. But that's just something interesting. I think it's actually showing on our one tropics map down here, way down here. There it is, little dot. See it? That little guy right there. So anyway, all right. So upper level winds um, coming, and there's that gap. There's our high. Bye bye high. There's our gap. It's going to get attracted. It's going to try to go around this a little bit, and that's kind of why the GFS is going a little higher than everybody else. It has been being attracted to that gap. Here's that little low coming in the picture. Kind of gets absorbed on this run, but back to my clicky mouse, by the way. I didn't bring my wireless mouse, but that's smack dab over Bermuda. Lori, are you watching? Look at that. You're probably getting rains right now. What's up with that? We got a lot of people in Bermuda. What's supposed to be your year? Now you're getting a little juice from this leftover frontal line out there. Right now you're clear, but maybe not. Um, there's that low. It doesn't really have much juice with it. Maybe nothing really. Nothing. No big. Nothing big. Nothing organized. Kind of wanted to look at my Bermuda friends here because we don't. I feel like we exclude them because we talk about their high pressure all the time, but we don't talk about their rains. But really, it's nothing. All right, you can also see this upper level disturbance here from the euro. I love looking at euro. There's our blocking high pressure that the euro's seeing. That's why we're going across Yucatan, and then here comes that low. It's going to break down that high and kind of start to pull things upward a little bit. So this little guy's going to influence one way or another. I'm telling you, and it starts to go high. So there you go. It's these systems right around these high pressures areas, and that's your road right there. Your road, Interstate 75. Hmm. All right, let me go to the top since I only got the Brew Crew chat up. Oh, by the way, Invest 96. Let's not forget about this one. Down to 20%. So far, everything has flowed exactly as planned. West, northwest, around these high pressure areas. But that 20 is following Beryl. And it had a lot of juice yesterday. Got a little juice today, still, but not as much as yesterday. All right. So what are we talking about, Brew Crew? What have I missed? Anything I need to talk about that I didn't talk about? So happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope I know a lot of people are probably picnicking and um, having a great day out there. Here's storms across the middle part of the U.S. Unfortunately, going to ruin some plans. That's weather today. Sahara dust. Hey, Alex. Yeah, let's take a look at the dust. Right now, it's not affected much. It is, it's funny. This system, we had the biggest plume of dust I think we've seen all year, and this little guy figured out a way to go underneath it, which is crazy. And the dust usually subsides around the beginning parts of the Caribbean, uh, but this one just kind of defied everything. I mean, we knew there was going to be a big plume behind it. We were tracking this thing last week. Um, there's Invest 96 kind of absorbing that dust. So last week when we were watching the possibilities of Beryl, we saw that there was going to be a little opening and a big plume coming in from behind. So that's what we're at right now. Um, there is a big plume currently that's kind of affecting 96. All that dry air that we saw with 96, along with this dusty plume of dust, is definitely hurt 96 behind. Um, and then we could have a little break down there. We could have a week or two break. Big old couple plumes coming in. This is dust. This is next 4 days from now. So that big old plume's following Beryl, kind of choking the 96 off a little bit. Uh, so there you go. Now, these little windows here, what you look at, they get a little opportunity and they ride in between these two plumes. This would be the 10th, about 6 days from now. So there is a little, a little wave coming off of Africa right now, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So, um, how did Rays do, Brandy? You guys talking about the Rays? Did they play last night? We love the Rays. So we've already met about, let's see, there's probably met about eight. Oh, we lost. Imagine that. I think I've met about eight fans here already. It's crazy at Margaritaville here in Auburndale. So it's amazing uh, group of weather people. Love the camp, that's for sure. But anyway, I hope this is helpful for everybody. Again, I apologize. We're mobile today. How about $12 beers at the race game? Sometimes you just don't care. You just say heck with it. I just grab them. I put it on Furman's expense tab. Ah. Oh man. Anyway, we'll be at the Rays game one day, Arthur. Yep, yep, yep. All right, for the rest of the world out there, I'm done. I really appreciate you coming in and watching. I hope I went over everything good for you. Hope so. Some of my thoughts, I guess my thoughts are this thing being a little stronger towards the Yucatan, based on the shear, looks like it's relaxing a little bit. And then of course that exit off the Yucatan, I think we're going to see this thing definitely get a little stronger than 75 miles an hour. Um, Water vapor loop is not that bad. We can look at some different PWAP values possibly. I mean, it seems like there's plenty of moisture out there. Getting ready to do our annual or my camping tradition and cook a pound of bacon here in a second. I cook bacon on the grill and throw jalapenos on it. There's plenty of moisture in the atmosphere. That's what we're looking at here. There's a lot of moisture down in the Gulf across there, so there's really no dry air that would affect this thing, it looks like to me. Here's your lower water vapor values, but let's go middle. Middle seems to be a little more important to look at. Tropical systems. So I mean, we're just looking at things that might make Beryl decrease. Oh, and I did want to look at the winds in the Gulf coming up. So there's plenty of moisture. There's a couple of dry, but there's nothing like imminent as far as dry air. I mean, it's not very healthy looking, that's for sure. But we got to keep an eye on this satellite here. That's Invest 96. Sorry, way up here. We'll just keep watching this convection, and it's bubbling. I mean, it's trying to get back again. It's resilient. Storms have a history of being resilient, and this one doesn't have any land. So today will be interesting to watch. I mean, they're expecting it to be a one on approach to the Yucatan tonight, late tonight, early in the morning. So, but it's this storm has not done what it's supposed to as far as the weakening when it was supposed to. So we'll keep a really close eye on these little bursts of convection and see if it starts to get wrapping again, because it looks like it's trying. And I just don't see that wind shear like we were supposed to see it. It's definitely down a little bit. Golf this weekend. That's what I was looking at before. And got sidetracked, but the Gulf upper level winds, oh, jet stream level, it's not terrible. There is some shear, a little bit here and there, but it's not the worst that we've seen, that's for sure. These are upper level winds. 60 just came out. I mean, the important thing is the euro. The euro should really tell everybody one thing. Even though it's been off on initialization on pressures, it's dropping the pressures pretty significant in my book, almost 20 millibar. So even the euro is expecting this thing to develop, exit at 992, possibly be 977. So that's a 6Z. But again, the track, I mean, it took a little tick to the south. Euro's usually pretty good with the tracks, but global models consensus here is a little tick to the north. These are your latest 12Z spaghetti models. We see a little bend to the north. This is the most recent. Um, let's look at Brian Tang. I think his name's Brian Tang. I hope I get it right. I like to look at these trends on the UK. I haven't looked at them yet. So it bounced back a little bit. It was way up here, then it came way back down here, and now it's riding south of the border. GFS has always been Texas. H-Wharf modeling, Texas. HAFS A, you can say Texas. Euro, I guess it bumped up. Is that their most recent? Yeah, there's 7400Z. So actually, so this is a progression of the euro. Lighter colors are the farthest back, 701. Darkest color is the most recent. You can see lighter, a little bit darker, a little bit darker, and dark. So realistically, the overnight 00Z was the farthest north the euro has been yet. So that's called a trend. HMON has done really good. And look at that. The latest HMON is the highest north that it's been. This has been the most accurate model so far, the light blue model. 5 days out, it was superior. 4 days, but overall, the HMON has been really good at tracking. And basically, we're 5 days out. Realistically, almost 5 days out. So the HMON so far on the history of this storm, the HMON, again, this is Brian Tang's website. I have a link on my site, by the way. If you go to the very, very top of my page, I think there's one up there somewhere. Maybe I don't. Maybe I should. I have it linked here, though. Guidance, right there. Guidance that goes to Brian Tang's. But anyway, the HMON's a decent model. But again, it showed that. So that's interesting. So the HMON, the last run is the highest yet. So really, your two most best performing models here. The euro has bumped the farthest north overnight than it's been the whole last several days. And the HMON has bumped the highest that it's been the last several days. And another good tracking model is the UK, and it's kind of been in the middle. So half speed has been really off. I think the half speed is not doing very well. Who's sneezing? Half speed's not doing very well at all. See that right here? It's on the line with the Canadian. So not to say it ain't right. Look at the UK. It's been actually bad. That was because of that one run. This is so what they do is they where it was 5 days ago. This is what they predicted, and then it gives you a ranking that it was that wrong. So 5 days ago, the HMON was almost the best individual model run 5 days out. So that's good information, I think. Yeah, intent, and then intensity, Here's your latest 6Z intensity models. Not showing anything to anything to worry. I mean, it's Cat 1 range, so maybe one into Cat 2. So that's kind of what the NHC is going on. There's your official. But trust me, I've never been very sold on intensity models. My intensity models are looking at these millibars and looking at the strength of the storms. So there you have it. Little trend to the north. Lots to watch in the Gulf. Lots to watch today, and how much Beryl weakens. And we'll see how it gets torn apart. The shear looks like it's not as bad as it was yesterday, though. And there's uh, so Yucatan's watching for a Cat 1 officially, maybe Cat 2. This thing sneaks in there, and then of course I'm really curious what happens in the Gulf. So hope everybody has a great um, 4th of July. Chad, yep, that's weird, isn't it? A lot of fireworks out there, so be safe. Protect your fingers. Don't post a video on TikTok shooting a firework, because they took mine down one year saying that it was dangerous. So more dangerous than storm chasing, apparently. All right. Have a great day. We'll let you know what's going on later. I'm going to do a little 90-second video here in a minute, and we'll let you know if we do anything tomorrow. Shelly, have a great 4th. Don't worry about it tomorrow if I go live. Shelly, don't stress. You don't have to be here. Good luck to Mason. Mason's doing a big competition this weekend, his first one, I believe. So we're all cheering for Mason at his competition today. Yay. All right. See y'all. Have a good one. Bye bye.